Uh, I just left a message with my niece Rachel, and um, I apologized for being a bit abrasive or curt with her towards the end of our conversation. Um, I was she and I should say, we were chatting, and she had mentioned something about, Aunt Stacy, you need to look at the situation differently. He's acting and behaving, and Xavier right now currently is in placement, and he's in there for a number of reasons. He has or had, I don't even know how to explain this. He's an angry young boy, young man. And my take on things is that he has taken his aggression, his anger, his disappointment out on the very person or the closest person that he can take it out on, and that's me. Um, when Xavier came to me, he was seven, maybe eight, but no, I think it's 7. But at that point, he has already been exposed to a number of things that has molded him somewhat to be the young man that he's now to be subsequently. And people may agree, people may not agree, whatever. It doesn't, I'm the one that raised him for 8 years, mind you. And it's been challenging, especially since the time of about 11 till present, and now he's 15. He's an angry young boy, young man, as I expressed before. And I know that he's been exposed to things that at a young age he should have never been exposed to. But he subsequently has been. And that's sad to know and sad to hear. And I guess I'm venting or expressing my feelings and my disappointments, etc., because I never expected it to turn out the way that it has turned out. And the things that he's been exposed to at a young age, no child should have ever been exposed to. And without trying to name names, there's certain people within our family. Well, there's people in our family settings, our unit, that just simply don't want to take accountability for what they've done and what the child has witnessed at a young age. Case in point, children repeat, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but children repeat what they see and what they hear. And Xavier's no different. So when he was in my home, and at age 11 or 12 and 13, he started to lie. Well, he probably did it before. We just didn't catch it. Because he came to my home around, like I said, 7 or 8. So lying and stealing, being manipulative, and a couple other things that I can't even put my finger on it right now. But in my household, I've taught both the boys that I have to be respectful, to be courteous, to be kind to others, um, to education comes first, and that was instilled in me. And I know, I just jumped from one thing to the other just now, but education is first and foremost. And without that, we pretty much can't go too much further without that. And I'm proud to say that I had parents that instilled that within us, and they produced some really fine human beings, uh, and they've done very well for themselves. It's. I'm proud to be part of the family and say, hey, you know, I am part of the Dixon, you know, family. Um, but with that said, it doesn't always trickle down to everyone, as we already know. Some people, we do things, and we won't we won't make or name any names. But if they don't learn from their mistakes, they tend to repeat their mistakes time and time again. And I think this is what's going on or has happened, at least in my immediate family. And that's sad to say. I want my son, Xavier, to, obviously, aka my great great nephew, to be complete and full, complete and whole, rather, and address any issues that he may have. Um, I, I, I don't know if I can fault him entirely. I mean, when a child tends to express themselves based on their environment and what they've been taught and what they've seen and what they've witnessed. And this child has witnessed a lot, but then again, so have I. There's things that I have no business seeing at my tender age, and what I've been exposed to at my younger years. Mm-mm. But I persevered and I prevailed. I had some level of success here and there, in between, what have you. I'm happy how I turned out. Could I have been more successful? Sure. If I didn't have all this BS and drama and crap that I have to endure with family members that throw things at me, um, I should have been able to, it's hard to say no, especially the family. It's hard to say no. I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of that. It's hard to say no to family members. So here I am trying to kind of open my home and have my home as a safe haven. Myself and, my significant other of 12 years, Wesley, has helped me tremendously. But with that said, still, this one child, and we know who we're speaking of, has yet to embrace that. And that is so disappointing. So disappointing. I had great parents that raised me, and they said, hey, I used to like it when Dad, Mr. Marzell Dixon, would put us around the table if there was any type of discrepancies or something that we needed to clear up. He would call a meeting at the table, kitchen table, and we would discuss what we needed to discuss. Any kind of beef, for a lack of a better word, that we had amongst each other, it needed to be discussed there and then, and that's where it would be resolved, and hashed out and all this and that. And that was a good learning tool that I use now with my kid, or with my children. And I was fortunate, Could I have wished things were a little different? And yeah, sure, but whose life is perfect, right? We just need to learn and work with what we have. But when it comes to my oldest, right now he's done a number of things I just don't really feel like getting into details. Um, I just hope at the end of the day that he finds peace and he finds the desire and the, I guess, the drive or the vision. And he's got to pray on it. He's going to have to want it for himself too. Um, it's funny because you can, what's that expression? You can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink. That's how I feel what's going on now. I mean, I could give my child and provide him with the, with all that, with everything that I have within me, and guide him and show him the right ways, and provide whatever means the child needs. But if he or she doesn't embrace it, and he or she elects to do what he or she elects or wants to do, uh, and makes poor choices, what am I to do? What am I to do? There's a time where I reach a breaking point and say to myself, a breaking point is what I said, and reach a point where enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm tired. I'm tired. From people who have made some accusations, they've embellished. I've had a number of people, starting with who did this? I've been reported. This is embarrassing to say, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. I've been reported to Children's Services not once, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Yeah, I said it. 3 freaking times. One was Marlene, my former, I would say she would be a landlord, I guess. At that point, she was upset that I did not purchase her home. It was a beautiful piece of property, but she wasn't frank about it. She wasn't forthcoming about certain things and conditions of the home. And for that reason, I reneged on purchasing that property. It was a beautiful, and ideally, the place that I wanted to raise my boys. But when she was not forthcoming about certain things about the house, it was like,